Hello, welcome to the Crafty Maven Getaway podcast. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Megan. We want to welcome all you crafty mavens, and we hope you enjoy joining us today.
Today we are on episode number 9. I feel like every single week we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's another episode.
I know, right?
We plan to do this every single week. So.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's such a big feat for us to like stay on task, for 9 whole weeks. I mean, 9 whole weeks we've been able to do this. Yeah, so that's almost 3 months.
Started pretty impressive.
So that's pretty awesome. Go us. And I just want to say thank you everyone who's been listening and commenting. I know we're slowly starting to get some more and more comments and listeners. So I really appreciate everyone who comments and listens and takes the time to do that, because without you, we'd just be sitting here talking about scrappy stuff, which we don't mind because we're going to do it anyway. But it's so much more fun when everybody else joins, and it's like a whole big crafty thing. I know I was thinking about scrapbooking weekend, or National Scrapbook Day weekend.
Oh yeah, that's coming up.
Isn't that in May? Do you remember what weekend it is in May? Because I haven't looked.
It's the first weekend in May.
I'm busy that weekend.
Uh-oh,
I was gonna try to do something like maybe a live Scrappy chat or something, but maybe we can do it the next weekend and just extend it a week, because I'm on my church has their women's retreat.
Oh yeah.
Go this year, and we go to Canna Beach, and it's just a super fun time to get away and take a break. And I feel like this past year there was a lot of stuff going on, good and not good stuff. So I think I'm just like looking forward to like as many breaks and like little retreat things that I can do to rejuvenate, I mean, and coming up, I was just thinking about this the other day. I'm going to be married in June for a whole year. I'm like, I can't believe it's getting closer to that. And then you're getting married coming up. And so it's
July.
Like, this whole year is like already flying by in my head. And so I'm trying to remember to slow it down.
Right.
But anyway, so we'll have to plan something for National Scrapbooking Day, maybe like during the week or something. And then maybe the next weekend we can do something to kind of extend it. And maybe we can do something live. That would be really fun in the group or something.
That would be fun.
Or even on here. I don't know how we can. Well, I know it's possible. I'll have to look and see how easy that would be to do it.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've done a live on YouTube. I've done Facebook lives, and those are somewhat easy.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time since I've done a YouTube live.
They've changed a little bit the way that they do the YouTube lives. Like the last time I did it, I had a hard time looking at the comments. And I know the last few times Sandy did it, she was having a hard time too. So I don't know if it's how it refreshes, or I'm not sure exactly how that works. Or how the platforms are. I don't know. I think they just changed the way it looks. So I just didn't know where to look.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to use my computer and, like do the dual thing, but like it wasn't showing all the comments that I could see on my phone, which is hard. Like if my phone is recording, I'm not looking at my phone.
Yeah, that is a little hard.
Anyway, we'll figure it out because we're smart gals. So
yes, we are.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about where you get your inspiration, and like kind of more along that process of like that process. I don't know if there's any more explaining I need to do about that. So get going. I think everyone will understand and they'll get it.
Right.
Be like, oh yeah, we get you, Hannah. Or hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so my first question is actually a question that you came up with, but Megan, do you ever just craft and create off the whim with a blank page, a blank slate? How often do you do that too?
Yes and no. I think it depends. Like it depends on a lot of different things. Like I can't just answer that question. Yes, I do that. Um, but yeah, like a lot of factors play into it. Like, am I totally in the mood to scrapbook? Or do I want to scrapbook, but I'm not in the mood to scrapbook? You know, kind of like all
Mhm.
of these other things play into it. Like, am I scrapbooking and taking care of kids? Or, you know, am I by myself? Like, all of these different things. So it's like, if I'm kind of not in the mood, but I'm like, I know I want to scrapbook, I'm just like, having a hard time getting going, usually I will use things like inspiration from a sketch or something like that. But like there are times when I just kind of start scrapbooking and I don't have any ideas.
Mm. I feel like out of the two of us, I'm the one that I'm like, blank page, here we go.
Yes.
And I love that blank page. And I know they're like, I know it's a syndrome and I know people have a hard time, which is part of the reason why I came up with the idea for the just in general for the Crafty Maven of a place, you know. I mean, I know we started it because of two peas, which is funny because this is a kind of a little bit off the beaten path here, but because there was a thread of people talking about two peas in a pod, or is it two peas in a pod or just two peas? Anyway, two peas
Yeah.
or in two peas in a bucket. Was that what it was?
I think that's what it was.
I think it was two peas in a bucket. Wow. See, I'm having to
Yeah.
go back, way back, because oh, gosh, that was over 10 years ago.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because we started the Crafty Maven about 10 years ago.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
think it was 2015 when we started, or 2016, one of those.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look. But anyway, so a whole bunch of people were talking about two peas and like how they missed it. And then of course I got to plug in the Crafty
Mhm.
Maven. I know we're not doing videos like we used to on our channel, but we have such a great catalog of different types of scrapbookers and different styles and different themes for that inspiration, because I feel like a lot of people do kind of, and when I first started scrapbooking, I don't think it was as much of a problem, or I didn't realize I was gaining inspiration from other places the way that some people were, maybe who were seasoned scrapbookers who had been doing it for a long time, who were working and doing all these things. I feel like all these things, like, what's the word that I'm trying to use? Holy moly. Um, like they vie for your, you know, for this attention that you have in your
Right.
head. And so it's like when you get down, it's like whether or not you want to scrap or you're like, not really, but I should, you get there and you're just like, my brain is empty.
Hmm.
And so to have that place is like super cool, you know, because it's a lot more organic. And I feel like two peas was a lot like that too, because you
Right.
had people posting every day and you had, I don't want to say they had as many differences because I feel like they had kind of a style, the people that they picked, and
Yeah.
maybe a little bit like there were some differences. Like Jill always did like super colorful. She was very artsy with her stuff, but it still was pretty clean. And I'm trying
Okay.
to think when she did her layout for our channel, which was like years ago. I'm trying to even remember it.
Yeah.
I was surprised that she did it because I was super excited because she also, like me, lived in Hawaii. Actually, I don't even think she lived that far away, but
Mhm.
from where I was. But I just loved her color, and she was one of the people that I got drawn to, but she was very much into the journaling thing. And she's still like, I still follow her and she still posts a lot of stuff that like she's very into like reading and poetry and literature and all that kind of stuff. And you see that like those elements that she had on layouts, you just see it like ingrained in her. And
Mhm.
and once again, it's inspiring, you know. But like there were certain people who just did pocket pages on 2Ps and stuff. So
Right.
anyway, so back then when I first started, I didn't feel like I needed as much inspiration because I was just consuming so much scrapbooking that I think I was soaking it up, and I didn't realize that I was being in, not to say I didn't realize I was being inspired, but I didn't need like a sketch or a mood board or something, or I didn't have to go pin layouts to scrap lift most of the time because I just was like, I just want to play. I don't really care. I shouldn't say I didn't care what was on the page, but it was more about playing and having fun and learning. And so like even now I still try to keep that in the back of my head when I'm doing the layout, is like, what am I, how do I want to approach this? Do I want to learn? Do I want to play? Do I want to just get a layout done? Because sometimes I just want to get a layout done. So I'm like, okay, what's the fastest way I can do that?
Yeah.
And so then I'll go and I'll find something that I know will be easier, or, you know, or something like that. Of course, without fail, it'll always take me longer than I ever, like, especially now that I'm coming back. I'm like, dang, I used to be able to get a layout or two done in the night and do the video. And I'm like, and then I have to remind myself that I have like so many other things running around in my head than I did before, that like it's not a bad thing that I'm taking my time.
Yeah,
So I don't
exactly.
know if
Well,
anybody else is out there with me. And if you ever feel bad about the amount of layouts that you're doing, don't, because at the end of the day, it's something creative and fun to do, and so there should be no limit on it. I know we put that pressure on ourselves, but you don't need to put pressure on yourself, guys. You don't need to.
right.
It's all just for fun.
Well, and you were saying like, you know, you have all these things going on in your head right now. And like, I think that is sometimes what kind of muddles the water. Like, there's so much going on and our lives are so busy now. Like, because I think about when my kids were little and how I didn't work outside the home, you know, like I was just always home. I took care of the house and I took care of the kids. And I feel like my life back then was so much less busy than it is now. And like I was in a totally different mind space, you know?
Yeah.
Like now I'm a working mom and, you know, I have like this blended family, and like life kind of is just crazy that it's like we have so much going on up here that it's like I do kind of have to slow down and be like, okay, this is what I love to do. Now, what do I want to do? Do I want that like inspiration from wherever? Do I need a sketch? You know, like just kind of calming your mind and just being like, okay, like let's be in our space and let's just enjoy it, right?
Well, and I think sometimes we forget that the inspiration is kind of like those yoga breathing practices that you do when you're starting yoga. You know, it helps get you centered, right? And so it's like you said, when you're in those different mindsets in different seasons in your life, you don't always need those calming breaths, those deep calming breaths, but sometimes you do. And so that's what I love about like inspiration, is that and especially when you brought up the idea of talking about inspiration, because there's so many different ways. And kind of going back to what I was saying before, is that there was times where I was using inspiration, I just didn't realize I was, because it was so much more intuitive to how I just created and how I just lived, as opposed to, you know, like now where I have a lot more going on. And so I have to think about it. I have to be intentional about doing those things to help create more inspiration for myself, because it's not that it's not there, it's just seeing it, you know. It's like taking those times to have those little moments, and like like you said, slowing down and calming down, so you can clear your mind just enough. And so sometimes doing things in practice, especially when you are busy, when you are in a season where you're not just living it through the same way. And that's not a bad thing, you know. It's like, because those different seasons you're going to journal differently, or you're going to pick different photos, and they all mean something, and they all are going to tell the story of your life and your family's life. And I think that's the cool thing, you know, no matter what you're using, it still is going to tell the story. So, you know, that being intentional in certain seasons, I think, is just helpful, so that you tell the stories that you also want to tell, but then you also take the time to find the stories that are there already, because sometimes we have to do some archaeology in our life to kind of find those stories, you know. Like when Lonnie was going through cancer, I had to look at things a lot different than like the way I look at things now. It's not the same. And I still do like those moments, and I still like crave for those like macro moments. I like those close up. I like the little tiny bits, because I can really like take that in. And some of it is just the way my brain works. It's like when I have too much to see in a picture or a goal or task, it just becomes overwhelming, and I can't focus on the true parts of it, or the whole parts of it, and I can't really experience it to the fullest. And but that's me. And so I know that there's other people who need to see that broad spectrum. And so like that's where kind of understanding like how you are as a person and what you need in that season can really help you figure out like how you gain inspiration, and how that like how you'll do that. Because one of my questions is, do you use the same inspiration each time? Like throughout time of scrapbooking, you know, like how much has the way that you scrapbook now and get inspiration, how's that changed from when you like back when your kids were little?
That's a good question. I think for the most part, I do actually still use the same inspiration pieces. Like, I love sketches. I use sketches a lot. That's one thing that I always gravitate towards. Well, and I also have created my own sketches, and like that's kind of a different aspect to it, because it's like coming from my brain. So obviously that information is in there, but I'm still using a sketch, you know. It's like this idea of a map, you know, like it's already laid out, like I don't really have to think about it. So I think sketches would be probably my most used one that I definitely used in the past as well.
Yeah, see, so like for me, like my inspiration tends to like, yes, I love sketches, don't get me wrong. Like if I don't know where I'm going with something, I'll pull out a sketch. And like if I want to get scrap quicker, I'll pull out a sketch because I can use it. But I mean, I never stick to the sketch fully. So like I just can't do it. It's the rule follower in me is just the non-rule follower.
I was gonna say the rule
I could ask
follower.
my husband. There's so many times he'll tell me something, and not that he's like, "Oh, you have to do it this way," but he'll want me to follow the instructions because I need to follow the instructions, because it would be better for all of us if I followed the instructions. And like sometimes I can't do it. I just can't. And you know, and we both get frustrated because I'm like, but so you know, and of course that's how it plays out. And that's fine, because within the realm of sketches, you know, it is just meant to be a starting off point. But anyway, but I tend to like get a lot more inspiration from like nature and the things that are around me, color for sure. So like things that I see, and a lot of times, especially, and this is what really kicked off me coming back to scrapbooking, is like I started scrolling through Instagram so much more, and I was just like seeing a ton of watercolor stuff, and I was like, oh, I should try that. But then it's like, how can I shift that to scrap? Like my brain just automatically wanted to shift it to, so it's like I'll see stuff, and now it's really cool with designing stuff, because I'll see something and I'll be like, oh, that would be really cool to try, or something to like as a starting off point, you know, because it's like, one, I don't want to copy what someone else did. I mean, it's fine if you're doing it like in your art journal and or something, you know, and it's for fun. But also it's like we all as artists put our stuff out there to help inspire people and spark that creativity. So it's like, if I'm not doing that as an artist, like taking what people are, it helps fill my cup, and so I'm able to create so much more, which is why I absolutely love to do the inspiration pieces. Like, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to scroll, and that's the only time I use Pinterest. Almost exclusive. Like, that's pretty much what I do, is I go on Pinterest. That's the only time, except for like if I have to share layouts and stuff, which actually reminds me that I probably should update. I haven't put layouts on Pinterest in a while, but like, other than that, I hate Pinterest.
That's so funny.
I think for me it's so chaotic, which is so funny because I know I'm more of a chaotic person, but it's just so random and chaotic. And even when I plug something in, it's like, if it's not to be inspired, you know, for inspiration purposes, I'm like, and I also hate that, like, if it's like a recipe you're looking for, you still have to go to the website. So I'm like, I might as well just use like, that's my opinion. You know, I say true. That, and I use Instagram, like Pinterest, all the time. Like, I have so many things saved. But anyway, so, you know, those are, I know, my kind of more top areas of where I like to. And it's just interesting to see, like, the difference between, you know, you as more structured, you know,
right? Yeah.
And when you get to your layout is when you want to be creative, you know, like, oh, now I have this backbone, this foundation, and now I can just play, and I can use this fun paper, or I can use this cool, you know, mixed media stuff that I think I want to use. And but you're not having to think about, how do I need to put this mixed media on there? Where, like, that's where I get joy, is like, yeah, I can just play and I don't know what's gonna happen. Right. It literally, there is sometimes, I was watching Mel W, one of her videos, and she's playing with rice paper, and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, I guess I'm just learning. And it just cracked me up, because it reminded me of me, and like how I used to be, and how I still am. Is, you know, it's just like, it's like, I don't care if people are watching me try something for the first time. It's like, they're probably sitting there going, oh, you should do it this way, you could do it this way. And that's fine. It's like, but some people, and I know some people are kind of like timid and shouldn't say afraid, but maybe afraid is the word, to, you know, to play in the context of, like, with other people watching. And I know that's like an introvert extrovert thing, I think, or that security of like what other people think, as opposed to, like, when I'm scrapbooking, I don't care what anybody else is doing. Like, that doesn't even remotely come into my brain. It's when I'm doing my voiceover and I realize, like, oh shoot, other people are probably watching this, it should probably make a little bit more sense. But anyway, all the backbones of creating.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see, where are we? Okay, how important is it for you to get inspiration for creating? I know we kind of have sort of been talking, like, about where we go, like, how important is it? I know this kind of like goes along with like how often, or like how much do you use it, or use inspiration, just whatever, but like, how important is that to you?
Well, I mean, I think it is really important, because of the season of life that I'm in, and just how chaotic my life is. Like, when I come to scrapbook, I just want to enjoy it, you know? I don't want to be like feeling anxiety about what I'm creating. Obviously, I have other anxieties in life. So I think it's really important to have that inspiration during this time of my, life and my scrapbooking era that I'm in, whatever you want to call it. Like, even if it's just like a Crafty Maven mood board or something, if that's all I start with, like, that's a jumping off point, and it makes it a lot more fun and creative. Like, I love that we've started For the Love of Homemade kits, because I know right off the bat, I don't even have to search for anything. I just have my kit and it's all ready, and I can just start creating. And now that we have like the store open and everything, and like we have the monthly digital products, like, oh, I know what papers I'm using or what elements I'm going to bring in. Like, I'm going to play with my new stuff, and I am on the scrapbooking store design team. And so, like, if I'm not feeling the stuff that's in my For the Love of Homemade Kits kit, I'll pull out my scrapbooking store kit. And it's like, I just have like those few things that I can reach for right now. And that's like the perfect setup for me to be inspired. Like, because like what you're saying about how when you were like first beginning with scrapbooking and YouTube and everything, and you were having so much inspiration, but you probably didn't even realize it was inspiration. It's like, you can get that inspiration from just your products that you're using, like even those things, like you get excited about wanting to use them, and then you get ideas from those products. Like, and that, I kind of feel like that's totally a lot of what I get inspired by too, is by the things that you're creating and putting in the store. It's like, oh my gosh, I really want to use this piece with this photo. Like, that would be so perfect, and then it totally sparks all of these ideas and things. So it's just a lot of fun to have that inspiration from products too.
Yeah. I know that, like, especially when I was in the thick of it, of, being on design teams and stuff. It's like, I always, when I first got that kit, and I think that's why I started doing the product photos for Click Hits, because I would see them and I'm like, oh, I gotta take pictures of it. And like, and even to this day, when I edit photos, like especially like of my layouts of products that I'm taking, when I'm editing it and I'm looking at it when I'm done, I'm like, ooh, I want to use it. And it gets me like super excited and super joyful. And like, I feel like a geek. And I said a couple of times, I'm like, I'm such a geek. I'm like, this brings me, and it makes him happy. It makes everybody else happy around me because I'm so happy. And it like flows. Such a cool cup that we get to fill up, and be inspired and let that stuff, whatever it is. It's like, I know for me, it's like taking product photos for whatever reason fills me with joy. And, but for other people like you, sketch it, creating a sketch and then being able to use it and seeing like how it kind of plays out, from head and stuff, where like, I don't have the desire to make sketches because I just like, and maybe it's because that box that I feel like I got to put myself in, even though I say that, because I know I use sketches quite a bit. It's like, especially recently, with Sandy's sketch series and stuff, and like just even coming back, I feel like I've done a lot more scrap lifting and sketches, just because I'm kind of like feel a little bit more greasy, or that's not the word. I need to be greased up. There we go.
You go. It's like that.
This is one of those like moments. Oh, sorry guys. I'm like coughing here because wouldn't you know, our store opened up, and then my body was like, okay, you did all this hard work, now you can get sick. So like, I feel like I haven't been able to stay on that upward train because I kind of had to take a few days to like, I was online, but not nearly as much as I would have liked to riding that train. But anyway, like the anticipation of getting the store out. I mean, And that, let me tell you, watching everybody use all the stuff that I design is like so cool. Like when I seen Gia's video come up and that abstract freebie that I made, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I was like, and it was like nice and big, and she blew it up like, oh my gosh, I was like, ah. And then it's like, pinch me, it's mine. I can't believe it, but then it gets me inspired. And I will say, like, I watch people all the time on YouTube or, you know, on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, I should do something like that, you know, or I see products like that some of the stores have out, and I'm like, oh, that would be really cool. I mean, that's partly why I bought so much stuff in the past, why even if, you know, we had to hunker down again, and I haven't really bought that much stuff. I mean, I bought stuff for the store, and I'm trying not to use that much of it because I want to sell as much as we can because it's for the store, even though I like, so I use a lot more of the digital stuff that I'm creating, but like I've told myself this year, I was like, I'm not gonna buy that much stuff because I have so much other stuff. It's like I kind of want to use and just like enjoy the stuff that I had bought before. Because I was getting so much stuff, it was hard to enjoy it and get it's like I didn't have time to use the inspiration that it was creating fast before I bought more stuff. It's like, because like even on when I was on Click Kits and getting stuff every month, which helped with my ADHD because, you know, I couldn't get bored with something for sure. But even then on top of that, I would buy extra stuff that was in the kit because I was like, oh, I know I'm gonna like this collection, you know. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Where was I going with that? I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know.
I'm just getting so excited about inspiration, guys.
I know you are.
Brain's not working. How about it's probably because I've been creating all day and I haven't eaten enough, and that matters.
Yes, you gotta eat.
Right. I just get so busy doing like fun stuff.
So
and like this is
funny.
the first chance this week that I've really been able to like create a lot. Like I made a layout earlier in the week for the Girl Getter Goals Hop. I know I'm not saying that right. So if you haven't watched that hop, go check it out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
A ton of women who did videos. It's like a great long playlist. I'm like only 10 or 11 in maybe, but so that's been super fun to watch and just listen to everybody's like stories because they're kind of talent having to talk about themselves, which I always enjoy. That always inspires me to listen to how people started and why they started their channel and stuff. And I know it makes some people uncomfortable to talk about themselves and their strengths and stuff, but like there's a healthy way to do it, and like so this was super fun and healthy. And
yeah, that's awesome. I totally forgot about that hop. I was gonna do it too.
Well, I'm sure you still have time to get your video up in there. No one's gonna see anything if you put it up.
If I'm super late.
Yep. It's okay. I said I was gonna do another hop, and one of the other ladies in the group, in that Scrappy hop group, they were trying to hit 500, and I wanted to do a layout, and I just didn't have enough time to get it done. So I'm hoping that maybe I can get that done this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I said how often. We talked about that.
So did we talk about different ways we
get
inspiration?
No, I think that's kind of like where we should go next. So what are the different ways that you use inspiration?
Okay. Well, so there's like lots of like social media ideas you can get. So like scrap lifting, or sketches. We've talked about sketches, but then there's also like you said you don't use Pinterest, but Pinterest is like my go-to. If I have like any hesitation, I'm like, okay, pull up Pinterest because I have so many layouts saved on Pinterest. And so I use Pinterest probably the most out of any social media to get ideas off of.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and it is a great place when people like post their stuff up there. It's like, I understand the whole concept. I think and maybe what it is, it's so much inspiration
yeah,
and so much that like I waste my time. I mean,
yeah.
Instagram can kind of be like that too, but at least with Instagram, like at some point I'm seeing either really similar things. And so it's
Mhm.
like, okay, that's cue to get off my butt and to create something.
Right.
And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, and, but Pinterest is nice because you can kind of keep stuff stored better. Like Instagram
Yeah.
saved is not, their saved features are not
It's not that
it's not
great.
like I get
Yeah.
that.
And I think that is why I like Pinterest, because I can see something and then I can be like, oh, I'm going to save this. And then I can remember, oh, I really liked this certain layout. And then I can go and find it again. And it's really easy to find it.
Yeah.
Like I have what?
Oh, no. Keep talking and then I'll ask the question.
I have like used the saved feature on Instagram, but you're right. Like it's not easy to find it. You have to like go into your settings, or I don't even know I would have to like search
The
for a
little
while.
three button. I think it's the little three buttons, and then you have to go
Is
find
it?
your
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have mine set up in folders. Like, so I have folders for scrapbooking. I have folders
Yeah.
for like more art stuff. I have stuff for business stuff. Yeah, like so different types of things that I know. But like if I'm not paying attention, it'll put it in the wrong one. And I do that for food too, because I see on Instagram too.
That's
So
funny. But there
I'm
are
sure that
things that I see on Instagram that I haven't seen on Pinterest. So I do like that they have a saved feature on Instagram, because then I can save it on Instagram when I'm
yeah.
seeing it. Because that's the other thing. If I were to just see something and be like, ooh, I really like that, but not save it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, like I remember this, but I can't find it, kind of
Oh
thing. So,
gosh. If I didn't save it, forget about trying to find it. I've tried to find
right.
it like so many times on
I
Instagram
know.
or Facebook. And
Yes.
like
Facebook too.
it's like, yep, it's gone
It's
forever.
gone down the rabbit hole.
Like there was one time where I seen this lady was doing like yoga exercises, and she messed it up and like got stuck, and it was so funny, and she was doing downward dog. Okay, so I was trying to find it to show Jason because we share memes and Instagram stuff all the time. My Instagram business account is like, are you sure you want to, like, every once in a while it'll ask me, are you sure you're like, like it's okay to share stuff, because it's meant for business stuff, but both of my accounts are business accounts, since that's mostly what I share.
Right.
And but anyway, so I googled downward dog. Don't Google downward dog if you don't want to see raunchy
Oh,
stuff.
goodness.
And I was like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Like the minute it popped up, I realized I was not very smart for a second. For being a smart person, I'm not very smart sometimes.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. So yeah, then I didn't find it.
That's too bad. Yeah,
Like
you gotta save it. Even if it's hard to find later on, you gotta
later on.
save it.
So how often do you go on Pinterest to find inspiration?
Oh, I'd say weekly, like at least once a week, if not more.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm on Pinterest a lot. I feel like I'm on Instagram and Pinterest probably the most,
Mm-hmm.
especially for scrapbooking stuff. I
Yeah.
don't do a ton of personal things on either one of those.
I'm trying to be better about sharing just
Everyday
all
life.
everyday life,
Yeah.
but I'm not very good.
Yeah.
I'll have people who I knew from a long time ago message me and be like, what's up with this? like, I'm like, well, if you gotta ask, do I got or no? Sometimes I answer and sometimes I don't, depending on like if it's somebody I feel like they need to know more information.
Right.
Right. But anyway.
Well, so what are some ways that you use, like all of the different areas that you use for
so
inspiration?
I definitely use Instagram probably the most. I'm not necessarily saving everything because then I feel like I would just have so many things saved. Like if I know for sure that's something that I want to use, I will save it. But a lot of times I'll just like kind of put it in the back of my mind, which, we'll see how that works out. But and like there's certain things like I'll see certain things and I'm like, oh, I gotta try that, and then I just don't get around to doing it, or like and I know that there's probably things that I've seen that I just didn't do whatsoever. But I feel like the stuff that really inspires me, it stays in my head and I'm able to like keep it there and try it. And a lot of times it's just like, oh, I seen this art thing and I wonder how it would look on a layout. And so like I'll just play around, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes I come back to it and sometimes, so but I also like to use like nature and stuff around me. So that was really big, especially like when I was scrapbooking all the time. I would like be in the store and I'd see something like a display or something, and I'm like, oh, I could do this on a layout. I feel like especially when we both were home and we talked a lot throughout the day, that would help also. So, and I find that like on days that like especially me and you can't leave each other messages or whatever, or I'm not putting on that thinking cap of like, oh, let me think through some things. Like I know that is one way that I use inspiration, if that makes sense. So like I'll think of something and then if I say it to you, I'm like, it helps me work out like how do I want to accomplish that.
Right.
And so, and then I get even more excited, and then you get excited, and then I'm more excited. And so, like, I feel like that kind of like, and I think that's partly my personality of like being so extroverted, is that like that playback that I get with other people. And so, like, I know like Gia had shown me a couple of things, and I was like, oh, that is so cool. And then today, I seen something and I was like, that reminded me kind of something of hers and something that I seen. And so now I got to try it. So, because we have some flowers that I need to put on the website, on the store. Yeah. And because my friend gifted me a whole bunch of like silk flower, or I don't know if they're silk, but they're like fabric-y type materials and stuff. And there were some, and on the video, they took the like powder ink stuff and then use that to dye them. But I mean, honestly, you could use anything. You could use sprays, which probably would be a good way for me to use a whole bunch of my shimmer sprays. As I'm sitting here thinking, I just seen it today. So like, but I will say the things that I see, like if I'm really inspired by it, I will just like kind of try stuff right away. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and on we go. And then I might come back to it later and I might not. But like also photos do that a lot to me too. Like I'll see like a photo that I took or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. Not necessarily like recreating photos. Like I don't look at people's photography and go, oh, I should do this.
Right.
You think I should do that because I use a camera quite a bit, but but like I'll see, especially sometimes in nature, I'll see something and I'm like, oh, I need to take a picture of that, and then I'll take it, and then I'll want to do something on a layout with it. And it might not necessarily be like, oh, I'm going to do this design, but it's like, oh, this picture has these colors, and like I'm definitely inspired more by like colors, like things that I don't want to say aren't traditional inspiration because I think they're all traditional. It's
Right.
just that like I'm more less like structured in the things that I'm inspired by, unless it's like something that I seen someone do that I'm like, oh, I want to do this, like a technique or something, or like the
Mhm.
flower that I'm like, oh, I should take some of those flowers and make them different colors and they can match our kit. And we could do that for April. And then I'm really excited. And don't you guys want to see it? You do.
Oh, oh yes.
um, right. But yeah, so like those kinds of things are things that I think inspire me. And I'm just like when I'm more intentional, I will just like it just like rapid fires, you
Mhm.
know. I'll be talking and I'm like, oh yeah, I should do this, and it's like
Yeah.
sometimes I gotta stop and I gotta write it down. Sometimes I don't. Like since I've started scrapbooking and especially with the business, like I'm constantly writing stuff and I'm like, I realize I need to organize how I have stuff written down all in one notebook,
Yeah.
kind of like my brain. So
Yeah.
if anybody wonders what my brain looks like, it's like multiple notebooks together, with all different stuff. Um, and
Yep.
sheets of paper with like there's watercolor
Everywhere.
where I tried watercolor and then I wrote down stuff. And then so I'm trying to find it and I'm going, holy crap, I know I put it here somewhere. Um, But so yeah, and definitely like when I watch YouTube, that definitely like just sometimes even just watching it, it's like I'm
Mhm.
not necessarily going, oh, I want to recreate this, but like seeing other people excited about scrapbooking helps get me excited and gets me in the mood. And so like that's why sometimes when I scrapbook, I do like to watch other people scrapbook, but sometimes I can't because otherwise I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing and it takes me way longer. But sometimes it's
Right.
necessary.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's kind of funny that you say that. Like sometimes you get, distracted when you're watching videos and stuff like that. I often find that if I'm watching scrapbooking videos, it gets me really excited to scrapbook. But then it's like I just kind of have them on in the background. Like the video doesn't even, I don't even have to be watching it. It's like I just have like a scrapbooking buddy. I've
Uh,
noticed that I just like listening to other people talking about scrapbooking as I'm scrapbooking.
See, I feel like I'm missing out. Like I'm missing out on seeing what's happening on the layout. I'm missing
Do
out
you?
on what I'm doing and the inspiration. And I think that's just it must be my FOMO showing up.
Right?
That's probably really and then I end up watching it more than I'm doing what I'm doing. And I
Yeah.
want to do what I'm doing. So I find that listening to music is the best way to do for me. It just kind of
Mhm.
gets me in that mood. So that's one thing I also do for inspiration. That's probably one of my top three things that I would say for me is
Yeah.
listening to music. And if I don't like the song, it is I like and I have Pandora. Well, I have Spotify, but my husband uses it when he works. So we don't have like family plan. We just have the one account. So if he's listening
Mhm.
to it, then we're fighting over whose song is playing. So I'll put it on Pandora, but then you'll only get so many skips. I can't tell you how many times like I have to
Uh,
ads sometimes because I'm like, I don't like this. This is not inspiring me. And go and I need to utilize the thumbs down button more, but
yeah.
sometimes I have a hard thumbs downing because it's not that I don't like the song sometimes, it's just that it's not in my mood. And
Right.
in Hawaii, I used to listen to music on YouTube all the time. So that's what I did. I just put on
Oh.
YouTube music and listen or look up videos
Hmm.
and make a playlist.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are your top three places as we finish up? Because we kind of should start finishing up here.
Yeah. So definitely Pinterest. I think
Mhm.
that's definitely one of my top places. Um, and then are we talking about like social media or just anything?
Just
Like
any
top three, anything.
just
Okay.
top three, any.
Okay, so I would say Pinterest and then sketches and scraplifting, I think. Or like scrap lifting slash like looking at my old layouts, and then I'll do like I'll make a sketch of an old layout and then like flip the sketch. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense, but
That's
like
to me.
try to change it up so that it's similar but not like completely the same.
Yeah. Do you ever worry when I know could be a whole nother episode here. But do you ever worry that like using sketches or scrap lifting that you're gonna see like too many of the same things?
No, because usually I scrapbook like the photos all over the place. But I like to put them in chronological order when I put them in
Okay.
binders. So I know that like if it ends up being like that would be kind of crazy. If like I have like three of the same layout in the order, that
I'm
would be
sure
kind of crazy.
it's probably the statistics of it is so rare.
Right.
I was just curious because I know like some people like scrapbook very similarly. And
Mm,
I think that's one of the reasons why I do like to vie for or find inspiration in all different places so that I
yeah.
have some different stuff because like when I'm always creating like the same type of thing, then I start getting bored, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
and as much as like I love certain styles, like that's not generally what I'm scrapbooking in the style or as much. I mean, sometimes, but
Yeah.
yeah, like if I don't use enough paint or something or mixed media, I'm like I can tell, feel it in my body. It like starts getting all weird. Um, okay. So those are your top three.
Yeah.
My top three places, I would definitely say, um, let's see, probably like technique type things from people or things that someone did on their layout. So it might not
Mm,
necessarily like a scrap lift, but like something they did. Um, and then music is definitely one of them, and probably photos is the other one. Because that usually is what like I decide, oh, I want to do this photo, which is why I have a gazillion photos. Like I just printed out like 6 or 7 pages of photos the past
did
couple of days.
you?
I wanted to scrapbook, and I'm like, okay, I hadn't printed off any of the photos from Idaho, so I printed off a whole bunch of those, and then I was printing off some of the photos that I took from like getting ready for the store. Like I don't want to print too many of those kinds because like it's all over my social media. So, but I do want a little bit of it, so it's like um so those are probably my top three. Um, yeah. So,
Yeah, that's good.
okay. So last, while we close out, do you have any tips for creating the opportunities for um getting inspiration or ideas or something to that line? Like any tips along that aspect?
Um,
Or do I
do you have a tip? Yeah, you go first.
Okay. I would definitely say one of my tips is find out, and I feel like I talk about this a lot. Think about who you are as a person, right? And the things that you enjoy and the things that fill your cup and the thing like really take that time to know who you are, right? Because when you know who you are, you're gonna be able to prioritize what kinds of inspiration and how you go about getting it, right? And then I think from there, it just will flow. But like when we fight against like who we are, like I'm going to go to last week, you were talking about how, when you were married before, you shied away from some of the busier patterns because you were trying to please other people instead of yourself and your stuff. Not to say that you didn't enjoy what you were doing and you didn't find, things that you did like, but just think about what you could have did
Mhm.
if you just said, F that. I'm going to use that paper because I like it. Right. And think about like what your style would be like now, because now you are doing that. And so it's like you're kind of refining out like what your style is and how you want that to look on the page. And not to say that journey isn't good and part of how it is, right? But I think when we take time to really think about who we are as a person and like what are the things that are important to us and what are the things that like how do we experience the world and experience inspiration, then we really can glean and really get the most out of the stuff that we're consuming. And from that, it'll just like inspiration kind of flows a lot better. So that's my tip.
That's awesome. I had an idea and then now it's just gone. So we'll just go with your tip.
Flying in the wind, like a dandelion dream.
Yep.
Oh, we could have said it was dandelion dreams. Anyway. Yes. No, that's okay. I like flying too. So, okay. So we are done with episode number 9. If anybody else wants to comment down below, like where are some of the places that you like to get inspiration? What things inspire you? Because I always love to hear what other people are inspired by, because that also inspires me. And so yes, definitely do that. And let's see. I'm trying to think if we have anything that we need to, like any housekeeping things like coming up, but I don't think so. I know I'm working on the April kit stuff. So as I start getting everything all together, we have one major order that's supposed to be coming in with stuff that is for some of the kits. So once we start doing that, I'll be able to start releasing more inspiration for the April kit. So, and probably this next week or so, I will start with a list or a place so that people can sign up if they know they want to get a kit for April. Because my hope is that when we launch the kit, they'll be shipped out so that, the people who I know that they want to get it, if they're not sure and they're on the fence, that's fine. But then we can have that first round kind of go out. So, and the plan is to have everything out by it's the 25th, I want to say, of April is when the kit will come out. So, so we'll build up to that. But I guess this is a question for everybody. Does everyone want all like the digital stuff like more towards the beginning of the month? Because I'm kind of was trying to think about how I want to do that. And release like some of the little tidbits things in the store and then have the rest of the kit just come out at the end. Because I feel like I don't want to have the digital stuff out at the same time as the kit, because then it'll be the end of the month. So if people have an opinion on that, like go ahead and leave comments. If you don't, then I'm just gonna figure it out, and it'll probably be earlier than before. So I haven't quite figured out like exactly what time of the month I'll release like the new stuff, except for I know we've been doing like the middle of the month, but if I can get it like maybe a little bit closer to the beginning, then everybody has all month to get to use everything. I mean, I know you can use it into the next month too. That's not a problem, but but anyway, so those are just a little bit of things that if housekeeping things, if people want to comment on, if you don't have an opinion, that's fine. Like I said, we'll just decide and let you guys know. But for now, have a great scrappy week. I hope that you can use some of that inspiration you've been storing up, Megan, because I know I've been.
Yeah.
And I'm like a happy as a bug on a log, something, a bug in a pile of poop. You know, it makes me a little beetle that like the dung beetle that like pushes the poop along. Anyway, happy as a dog with a fresh bone, like when they just get so excited. I hope everybody loves all my illustration. Anyway, the things that run through my head, just think about the things I'm not saying.
Goodness.
But anyway, I hope everybody's able to create something this week. And definitely, if you don't have a chance to create this week, make sure you take some time to find some inspiration this week. So,
yes. Happy scrapping.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the, that doesn't sound right. I need to say hello or something. And
I guess I say welcome to,
Okay.